everyone, we're in Steve's Kitchen. I'm your host Megan, and today we are going to be making my great-grandmother's banana bread recipe. Alright, so the first step to making banana bread is to get all your ingredients set out. So the way we make our banana bread is we use 2/3 cup of sugar, 1/3 cup of Crisco, 2 eggs, room temperature, 1 cup of well-mashed bananas, we'll get to that in a second. We're going to use 2 cups of flour, which we will sift in a little bit. We're going to use 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, salt, and cinnamon, and 3 tablespoons of milk. Now, these are kind of optional ingredients, but in our family, we always love to add some kind of chips. In our case, we're going to use semi-sweet chocolate chips, but you can use whatever your favorite is. And we're also going to add in a splash of vanilla. Alright, so the first step for making our banana bread is getting our bananas together. So I like to use 1 cup of well-mashed ripe bananas. So that breaks down to about 2 to 3 bananas depending on the size and the ripeness of your bananas. So let's get to it. Alright, so here I'm going to grab my banana and I'm going to peel it. Oh, this one actually looks like a pretty decent banana. So sometimes if the banana doesn't look very good, I might have to kind of cut some pieces off, but this one actually looks pretty decent. I don't think I'm gonna have to cut anything off with that one. Yeah, that's a really good banana right there. All right, and then I'll take one more, depending on how much I'll get off of this one. And peel this one. Yeah, these all look like really good ripe bananas, so it doesn't look like I'm gonna have to cut any of this one off either. So normally I'll just use about 2 bananas. Might cut a little bit off the bottom of this one. But you know, depending on the bananas and what you're getting off of the bananas, you might have to do a little bit more, depending on what you're getting out. So now I'm just going to start mashing up my bananas. All right, so our next step is going to be combining the sugar, Crisco, and eggs in the mixer, but first we have to crack the eggs. All right, so when you're cracking the eggs, do your best not to get shell on them, although I do all the time. You just have to kind of pick it out. All right, so now that we've got our eggs cracked, our next step is going to be combining the sugar, Crisco, and eggs into the mixer. All righty. Here's our sugar. Here is the Crisco. And here are our eggs. Alright, so I'm gonna mix probably on low to medium speed, depending on how well everything's gonna come together. So I just wanna look and make sure that everything is completely combined. Alright, so now that everything is thoroughly mixed together, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get my next ingredients. So here I'm gonna start by adding 3 tablespoons of milk. One, 2, 3. Okay. Now that I've got that milk added, I'm going to add a splash of vanilla. So not too much, just a little bit to give it a little bit of extra flavor. And then finally, I am going to add my mashed bananas. Alrighty, and then from here, I am going to mix with my mixer on the lowest possible speed to get all of this stuff combined. Alright, so now that our bananas and everything are combined in there, I am going to sift in, make sure you sift in your flour and the other miscellaneous things like your baking powder, baking soda, cinnamon, and salt. So here, I'm just gonna kind of sift in my flour, pour that in, get it sifted. All right, and then here I'm just gonna pour in my other stuff as well and set that. There are chunks. You can take a fork and run it through, or you can just come and dump it. It's all right. I won't tell anyone. And now we are going to put our mixer back together. And from this point, you don't want to overmix. Be very careful not to overmix. So we're gonna mix this just until everything is combined. All right, it's looking good. And like I said, you don't wanna overmix this. It's gonna mess with the texture of your bread. So once everything is well combined, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these chocolate chips, I'm gonna pour them in, and then I'm just gonna give it a little mix just until these chocolate chips are combined, and then from there, there's no more mixing involved. All right, so now that we've got everything combined, our chocolate chips are in there, we are done with our mixing step. So the next step is going to be transferring this dough into our baking sheet pan. Here I have my dish. My pro tip is when you're getting your dough into the dish, use parchment paper to line your baking dish beforehand. This will prevent sticking and make it super, super easy to take out of the dish once you're done baking it. So it might not look the most elegant, but it gets the job done and makes your life so, so, so much easier. So here I'm just going to scrape off my beater a little bit, get some of those chocolate chips and that dough goodness in there. And then from here, I'm just going to pour it into my pan. It's stuck in there. All right, and then here we go. Alrighty, so now that we've got all of our dough in our pan, we are going to let the dough sit for about 20 minutes. And while we do that, we're gonna preheat the oven to 350. All right, so now that our dough has been sitting for 20 minutes, it is ready to go in the oven. I'm going to put it in the oven at 350 for 50 to 60 minutes. All right, now the banana bread's done. I stuck a toothpick in it and it came out clean, so now it's time to take it out of the oven. All right, now from here, we're just gonna pull it out of our pan and place it on the rack to cool. And then once it's cool, we can cut into it and enjoy.